All right, so we had a great interview with Jasmine and then Mariana, but now we've got Daunelle Mock on the phone. Daunelle, you there?
Yeah, how's it going?
It's going all right. We had talked briefly, and I guess we kind of stopped your day for a little bit to talk. I appreciate your time. You're a very busy woman with your association, but I guess let's first delve into your history with the sport. What generation are you, and how'd you get involved with the sport?
I am, I guess, the second generation horseman. My dad was in the sport and trained racehorses and owned racehorses. And eventually my sister, when she got out of college, took over the stable. So that was, I don't know, probably over 10 years ago. Or old now, I guess. And when she took over the stable, she ended up meeting her husband, Spencer K-Rig, and they made their stable together, which is now K-Rig Racing Stable. And that's kind of how I got into it. They gave me my first part of a horse, which was Wingman Lomond. They gave me a quarter, and all I had to do was show up to the barn and help out with the other horses. And then I got the bug for it. I wanted to own more. He made me money, luckily. And I bought into other parts of horses with it, and we sold him and bought another one. So here we are. I would say that was 2016-ish, so a couple years later, and I'm still in it with about, I think I own about 5 or 6 now. I have.
So you've taken, I guess, your knowledge and love of the sport and I guess transferred it into a position with an association. Can you explain what you do at the MSOA?
Yeah, so I am their marketing director, so I run all the social media, any of our marketing buys. We do a lot of digital ads, radio ads, commercial. So I actually, when I got started, I was still in college, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I went to college for computer science, actually, and Heather Wouter took me down to the Dan Patch Awards in Florida. It was my sophomore year of college. And I loved it. We went to a couple seminars on marketing the sport, and I was like, wow, I need people to do the marketing side of this sport so that the sport that I love, harness racing, stays alive for years to come. So when I went home, I told my parents that I was going to switch my major, which I think they were wondering how much longer I'd be in college then at the time. And I switched my major to marketing that year, and I graduated, and then the MSOA had just a social media position at the time open. So I applied for it and got involved with it, which was nice because I wasn't ready to take on a full-time job when I got out of college. I have the horse bug. So I was grooming horses, and I wanted to be in the paddock, and I wanted to be around the horses. So it was like the best of both worlds. I could get social media content while still doing the horses. And then it kind of grew from there. They needed more and more. We had Kentucky Derby coming up, so we needed to put on events. So then from there, I went from social media to the marketing director. So we started with a couple events, wiener dog races. On the Triple Crown days, we have big events, hat contests, things like that. And it just grew from there. So it started social media, and then now here we are. I think I've been with the MSOA for 6 years now, or coming on to 6.
What do you see, or what do you envision as far as, the things that work? What works? Is it that constant radio ad? Is it, some print ads? What types of things do you see? Is it a social media campaign? Are there certain aspects of certain things that work? What are the things that people respond to? What are the things that are still working? If you can hone in on, a couple things of those, what would you call it? The promotional tool? Or the promotional wheel?
I think it's a little bit of everything. So when I first started, social media is a huge, huge platform that you can reach so many people from. I think that's an important aspect, and even from when I've started, social media has grown so much. You can, boost these posts, put money behind them, and serve them to these certain demographics. So I think, those are really nice tools. Those are all the ways we've gotten our events out there. But that's the thing too. So events work to get people, if you want to get people to the track and like get them involved with harness racing, then the events are your way to go. That's the wiener dog races were a huge success. We never in a million years would have thought something like that would draw in so many people. It helped. It was food truck night too. We had like 8,000 people there, and the promotions we did for that were simple. We did a couple classic, newspaper ads, but then we just did a social media Facebook event to get the word out that we were having wiener dog races. And that's really the only way that I got wiener dog entries was I put, if you have a wiener dog, contact me and let's enter them in this race. So that was the way that we got that started.
You're saying it went viral through a social media event promoted on Facebook where it reached people, let's say, in other races or jurisdictions or however it works in the wiener dog world, and people signed up through social media more so than the local newspapers. But they still attended locally because you did hit that demographic through the newspapers. So could you really pinpoint, which was more effective? As far as getting the dogs, it was through social media, but do you think the newspapers still had some type of effect? Did you have TV exposure? Did you use radio ads?
So, I think the social media to get the dog entries in there was all social media. But then to get people to the track for the races was a combination of, we do so many radio spots, typically 2 weeks out before an event. We buy usually just 1 or 2 full-page newspaper ads, not a lot of traditional anymore, and we've moved a ton to digital. So, we serve those ads on different apps, like weather apps, news apps, and after COVID, this was before COVID. Now, after COVID, we've done a lot of things on gambling sites and gambling apps such as DraftKings, FanDuels, Barstools, things of that nature. So we try to move with the way the world's moving. We try to keep up because it is a lot. Marketing's ever changing, so it's a lot to keep up with and stay relevant.
So you're hitting all these different channels at once, and it's still kind of hard to gauge, I guess, where everybody's coming from. But you're just saying, as a marketing mix, you do everything in unison, and it works as a big pie, I guess, with all the pieces coming together. Would you say it like that?
Yeah, definitely. The digital, we can track that easily. We know who's clicking on the ads, when they're clicking on the ads. But now when they come to the track, unless you're specifically asking them, like, hey, how did you hear about this event? I couldn't tell you if it was the radio ad that made them get here, the social media post, or, the digital ad that they were served as far as what made them end up at the track. We know when they're clicking on our ads and going and placing a bet onto Hollywood Gaming or Express Bet, but we don't know, if they come to the track, if that ad's why they ended up at the track.
Because there used to be ways that you could track that stuff. A newspaper ad, you would have like a small little coupon, or, at the radio, you would say, say this at the gate, say like, WLS 670 or whatever, as a code word or something. There's old school ways of doing that. But I guess, what would be a typical marketing budget when you're, using, all of those things at once, if you were to do that all in unison? Let's say, like you said, newspaper and radio, doing a little print, like we're saying, the social media, like what would be a typical budget, let's say, for not just a wiener dog, but just say a typical event? Are we talking like 4,000 or 5,000? Are we talking more? Do you have to pay the people for winning? Is there expenses involved? Are we talking 10,000, 12,000?
Yeah, it depends. For, I would say, like wiener dogs or Triple Crown events, you're looking around like 10 grand for promotion and anything that you're doing that day. If you're doing giveaways, it'll be a little bit more. You got to buy those giveaways that you're doing. We've done, we can work with any budget at the MSOA. We've done little spends of like Veterans Day where we bought them t-shirts, got them programs and vouchers. And we did like a postcard spend. I think we spent like $5,000 sending out these postcards that said, bring this postcard to the track on Veterans Day.
But you're doing this with the association, and you're doing this through the racetrack, correct?
Through the association. This is all MSOA. I mean, the racetrack has to give us the approval and be okay with all that, but it's the association.
So
we have a marketing budget.
Do you ever cross promo, let's say, with a non-for-profit?
Yeah, we've done like a charity challenge before where we've brought in 10 charities. They each bring 10 people, and then the drivers competed against each other to raise money for those charities.
Okay, so
and then
let's just jump into something right now. I'll give you a scenario. So right now it's American Red Cross Month, and I've been talking to Ryan Macedonio with Trot, and what he does with Trotcast and this whole charity thing with Trot, and we've talked about possibly cross-promoting with the American Red Cross. So how would you enjoin all these different elements with the American Red Cross, let's say, and do an event, let's say, this weekend coming up? Or like the rest of the month, or let's say a month-long campaign. How would you, from the horse side, promote this event with and I'm not saying the MSOA, but just with a Horsemen's Association backing it more so than a racetrack? Like, what would your angle be? Would it be more grassroots? Would it be more agricultural? Would it be more across the board, like you're saying? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I think...
And not just the Red Cross, but just say one... It could be one every year. It could be a different charity every year. And this year, let's say, it could be the American Red Cross, but next year it could be the American Heart Association, and the following year it could be something else. You see what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's different routes you could go. Like, we've done food banks where if you bring in a can of food, you get a $5 voucher. Every year, actually, we do that with Toys for Tots, too, along with the casino. So I think that's a way to, one, get people to the track. Then you're giving them something to bet your races, so they're spending that money back in the place. So I think you can go that route, or if you want to do a whole event where you involve the drivers and they're challenging each other for the races of where they're donating money to. We've done a couple different ways with that. It always does help to partner with, a charity, because you're bringing in people that don't necessarily know harness racing, and they're showing up to the event and getting to know harness racing while helping their association too.
Yeah, so
it's a win-win for everyone.
So I think it would be more effective not just honing in on one specific charity, but you see, let's say this year the American Red Cross, the next year the American Heart Association, the following year the American Cancer Society. You see what I mean? And then just do something different, like maybe the Susan Coleman and cancer with women, and and every year do something different, but still have that same event, and maybe it could be nationwide. It could be maybe regional, or it could just be at isolated racetracks. We don't know.
Yeah. We actually had a fun... Dave Pallone was a celebrity bartender it's called the Parlay Lounge. It's right off the hotel that's connected to the track. And all the money he raised as the celebrity bartender, he donated to Alzheimer's Association. So that was like another nice way to get more people involved. We weren't racing that night, but they knew that this is the world's winningest driver, which is like a huge deal. So they came out, money was raised for a charity, and they got to learn a little bit about harness racing, because there were a ton of harness racing people there. So, that was another nice way that necessarily the races weren't going on, but it was a way to help promote through a charity.
So were they doing, silent auctions or selling jerseys? Did they have autographs? Were they just doing other money-generating things? What types of things were they doing?
Well, yeah, they did. I believe there was a Chinese auction there, and we were supposed to do another one before COVID hit, and then we ended up having to cancel because everything was shut down. But it was going to have like a Chinese auction. The ticket you sell the tickets to get in was part of the promotion that we were going to do. So you paid like $25. You got dinner, a couple drinks, and then a chance to win $1,000, which was donated by an owner. Which it's sad we didn't get to do that. Hopefully this year we'll be able to revamp and actually get to do that event.
So is there anybody in the industry, I guess, you want to give a shout out to? Any family members or anybody else, I guess, that's gotten you in the position you are today that you just want to give a special thank you to?
Oh, yeah, definitely. My family's helped me this whole time. My sister and my brother-in-law, Spencer and Dana K-Rig, and my parents. And then, the MSOA, the board of directors there, I'm very lucky for each and every one of them. They help me, and we have a PR committee through the MSOA that, they help with ideas and put everything together. So I'm very fortunate that way.
Excellent.
I have a lot of people in my corner.
We really, really appreciate your time, and we don't know when our next episode is going to be, if it's going to be a week or in two, but we definitely have something up our sleeves, and we're definitely going to be somewhere where it's going to be a little bit warmer. We'll just leave it at that. But, Dawnelle, we really want to thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had a great time.